All right. Hi, Kim. How are you?
Good, Ingrid. How are you?
Good, good. We are Sisters by Heart, and welcome to our channel. All right. So now we're recording. All right. So we're back. We had a little interruption, and that's going to happen from time to time because both of us use our phones, right? And, we have kids, we have husbands, and we have parents.
and we have pets, and we have
So an emergency can happen at any time. So if we have the wonderful world of editing will help us to bring restoration back to our channel.
That's right. My dad calls, I have to answer. So that's all there is to it.
Well, I don't know if you noticed, but I finally got the gray out of my hair. I was able to dye it.
Oh, it is so pretty. So what color did you use?
The same color I use all the time, burgundy.
I do too, but every once in a while I'll switch it up a little bit. But I do like the burgundy brown better because it covers grays better. It lasts.
Well, I do burgundy because it lasts. When you wash your hair, it starts to leave. So you're gonna see after a week or two that it's gonna get lighter, and those pesky white hairs are gonna come back. But the only time I make a change is whenever I do the highlights, because then I'll do like the blondish highlights. Other than that, I'm not brave enough
to do that. I'm not brave enough to try the highlight thing on my own. Like I'd be afraid of. Oh, okay. Because I would turn green or something.
No. I go to the salon for that. But they're taking too long to open up, so I needed to. It was getting really bad.
Yeah.
And so I decided, I said, you know what? And I found it. Remember, I told you I went to Walmart and I found it for like $2.68. So I got 2 boxes.
That is awesome. That's a good deal. Can't beat that.
I mean, they had other ones that were a little expensive. I wasn't feeling paying almost $15 for a box of hair dye. It wasn't going to happen. But anyway, I also did, I pampered myself all day on Saturday. So I did a video about that. So it's going to be coming up sometime.
Okay.
Down the line.
I keep looking over here because my granddaughter rescued a butterfly. Its wings are all broken off.
Oh.
And so, it will die. Obviously, it can't fly. So I read, okay, what can I give it? And I had some watermelon. So they said just to leave it out there, and the riper and yuckier the watermelon or any fruit gets, the better it is.
Okay.
And I had to keep picking up the butterfly and pushing its wings together and putting its little face okay, this is food, because they're used to flowers. It's over there eating right now. It's so cool to watch.
Oh, that is so awesome.
Yeah, it's really cool to watch it eat.
Flip through. Can you do a flip of the camera real quick?
Let me see if I don't want to scare it and make it go away. Okay, ready?
Uh-huh. Oh my goodness, that is the most awesome thing.
It's eating. Isn't that neat?
Yes. How awesome
it is
that?
Going to town eating. It is eating. But you see how its wings are so broken? Let me see if I can get closer.
Oh, poor thing. So is this going to help it stay alive or something?
Yeah, it'll at least stay alive. I mean, it'll never fly, but at least it won't get eaten by somebody or something, and it won't die that way.
Oh, how cute.
Munching away over there.
Well, I'm going to call that Butterfly Beaches.
Cool. Oh, what did I do wrong? Hold on. I'm special. What the?
I don't want to say anything.
I know. 16 minutes. Sorry.
Well, I think you should call that Butterfly Beaches because you are the wind beneath its wings.
Yes, it has the wind. Well, when Hope came in with it, it was in her hair. I don't know, if it fell out of a tree or what happened. And she comes in, she's like, Grammy, there's a butterfly in my hair. And I'm thinking, well, why didn't it fly away? And when I looked, I was like, oh my goodness, that's why. It has no wings. They got either chewed off or...
Well, that's awesome. Well, now you guys have a little pet where you can just feed a butterfly. You can feed it watermelon. Yeah, that's so cool.
That's what he or she is munching, watermelon.
Yeah. Well, So what's on the agenda for today? I know we were going to talk about the whole homeschool, the homeschool trend, because of course of the pandemic, everybody and their mama is homeschooling right now.
Yes, everybody's homeschooling now, whether they want to or not.
Yeah, and so I hope that this brings, it sheds light on a positive note when it comes to homeschool, and that people can respect the homeschooling community a little bit more. Yes, and understand that, and you know, one thing that those families that choose to have their kids go to public school, because there's nothing wrong with that. Everybody has a choice, and it's okay. Right. But I hope they see, because you know, I know a lot of friends who had to keep their kids home and family members because of the pandemic, and they were complaining like, "Oh my God, this is driving me crazy." The only thing is, the only difference is that they still have a teacher that they can go to. The teacher that prepares all the assignments and gives the instruction via the Zoom, whereas we as homeschoolers, we have to do all of that ourselves.
Yeah. And that can be a plus or a minus even for them, because they're still stuck on the school district schedule. They still don't have the flexibility we have, and they still don't have the say in what they're teaching their child. They're still being told what to do. So I think that's a huge difference.
It is a huge difference. And, you know, but I was referring to the, you know, because a lot of people think that as homeschoolers, you know, we either are not qualified enough to do it, right? And so is your child really learning? Absolutely. And I think that, so can you imagine if they had to be teacher, right? Curriculum researcher, putting it all together, right? Planning it out. You know, getting all the supplies for those experiments that we have to do. So it is a lot of work. And I just hope that the homeschool community will now, you know, positive light will be shed to the homeschooling community. I hope that this does not infringe on our rights either, because now, you know, with a lot of things going on, but at the same time, it can also help those families understand that it is possible to still work.
That's right.
And homeschool, because things are changing, especially now with this whole COVID-19 and requirements that are going to be put into place when things get back to normal.
Yes, normal.
This is definitely going to be a game changer in the education.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
And it's across the board. It's not just for K through 12. It's also college level. I work for a college. Actually, I work for the college that I attend, and now they are going to implement this whole virtual type of learning. In fact, this week they're going to be hosting a virtual, a virtual kind of tour to kind of get new enrollees. So this is the new thing. But when it comes to homeschool, what would you say would be, is it hard? You know, it can be difficult for people who are doing it for the first time, because when you're doing something, you know.
But I think, you know, you go through different times in homeschooling where it's harder than other times. You know, even like trying to figure out what works for your child, because sometimes you think something is working and then you find out it's not working. Like our homeschool is going to be changing hugely this coming school year. I mean,
isn't that so exciting?
I threw it all away. I was like, none of this is working.
Yeah, I've had that aha moment. I think that's why I chose to be eclectic, because you know, it's hard to adopt to one specific method unless it works. Then there's no need to change. But it also it's dependent on your child and on the type of learner that they are.
Right. And I think that even changes with their age sometimes. I think sometimes what did work can stop working too.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
So I'm speaking to a very seasoned homeschooler, because you've been homeschooling for many years, right?
I started in the mid-1990s.
Wow.
I know. I just aged myself.
We're dinosaurs here.
I'm dinosaur, like big time. Like there was no internet. There was not. I used to call. There was only like a couple of places you could get curriculum from, and I would call them. They would send you a catalog, and it was in black and white, and you couldn't even you couldn't even like look inside their curriculum. It was so hard because it had like a teeny paragraph that said, oh, this is what it is. And that's all you got. So unless you were friends with somebody that was already a homeschooler, which there weren't that many of us, then you couldn't even see the curriculum firsthand. It was rough.
Wow. So being that being that you have been there kind of like when the homeschooling boom started to make a little spark, because even in the 90s, homeschooling was really like, right?
Yeah. Oh, I got so much flack, like big time flack.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
How would you rate the evolution of homeschool?
I would
on a
say
scale of 1 to 10. From then and now.
From then till now, I would say we're at, I mean, there are some people that are still, but I think it's like a 10 now compared to then. The difference is amazing. I'm like, yeah, we still get a lot of feedback and we still get negativity, but I think anything that you do, you're going to get negativity from someplace, from someone. But the amount of information that is available to us at our fingertips now, and the things that our children can do that I didn't have access to in the 90s, is night and day difference. It's just so cool, because some of the programs that I have used with my granddaughter now, I wish that I would have had access to some of those for my own children, because there was just stuff that my daughter had to struggle through, because that was all that there was. And we just had to make it work.
Yeah, and that's interesting, because now that you mentioned that, it's like there's so much stuff out there. It's like hard to choose now with what you want to use.
Yes, it is. So it's very hard.
Yeah, because I've been doing this for 5 years. And when I first started, I started with Abeka because I was new to homeschool. For me, Abeka is like the safest curriculum. It's a great curriculum, but it's the safest. Because number one, it's the principles of their products are Christian based, which was a plus for me. And, it was just easy to just stick with that one curriculum. But then as I began to learn and see that there's so many things out there, even within the 5 years that I've been homeschooling, there has been so many new curricula out there that it's just like,
wow is what it is. And do you follow the trend because everybody else is doing it, or do you research and figure out what is right for your child and your family? And that's really the question. And the time that, I don't know about you, but the time I spend researching curriculum is ridiculous. Like before I got into YouTube, my granddaughter at the time was like 2 when I started researching YouTube. Just looking, getting an idea, and I was just floored. I was like, oh my gosh, it's changed so much. And some of the really early channels that were one of the first homeschooling YouTube channels out there, I mean, that's where I would go to. And I was one of those binge watchers that was just trying to soak up everything, because it had changed quite a bit in a short period of time. And imagine now, I mean, that's been 6 years, and even more has changed in the last 6 years.
Yes. And the one thing that I've noticed though, I'm a researcher because I have to research everything. And then I also have to include Mia in that, because she is the one that's going to be learning, and what I may like, because I remember when I first started homeschooling, I loved Singapore math. That's the way that I love to learn it. That's the way that I like teaching it. She was like, we're not doing that. And that kind of like, it set us back, because after I used it for a whole half of the year, she was just not having it. So then I switched to Abeka, and she loved Abeka. Abeka is very good because it's a spiral type of curriculum where, you have the repetition, you learn something new, you go back, which is awesome. But the amount of work that they had to do, and then I was stuck on, well, we have to finish the whole thing, because what do you know? You have to finish it, you have to do all these things. So I think that I kind of like overwhelmed her. So she was like, until we found a math that works. But when I look at YouTube, I use it as a researching tool just to kind of get a feel. Because to be honest, you're not really getting the full scope either. But
at least you have the opportunity to look inside, which we didn't have that opportunity to even see what it looked like on the inside in the early days. At least now you can at least see what it looks like and get some idea of what you're getting into.
Yes. And another thing is that some of these products also now they have demos that they can send to you, or samples online that you can kind of see and glean from.
It's so awesome.
It is. And I'm just like, you know, there's just so much stuff out there that now is just really becoming too overwhelming. And I would say that if you have something that works, stick with it. Why fix something that's not broken?
Exactly.
You know, don't be too quick to buy curriculum because it's the popular thing at the moment.
Exactly. That's exactly it. And I mean, we used Matthew C. for all of kindergarten, all of first grade. Absolutely loved it. And I still say Matthew C. is an amazing program. We hit second grade, and I just started seeing some things that I didn't think were working anymore. I felt like there were some gaps for her and that I wasn't able to cover them. So, like, as you know, I won a subscription to teaching textbooks for a year. So I thought, we'll jump on the teaching textbooks bandwagon. And again, I think it's beautiful. I think it's wonderful. It's awesome for kids, especially if you want them to learn independently. But then again, because of these gaps that we had to go back even more. So I stopped that. And so now we're doing something totally new again. And the new curriculum that I chose is actually something that kind of has the same approach to this book that we're doing now. So I'm hoping that it's all going to fit together as one piece. I hope I've done enough research that we're going, because she loves this approach. And this morning when we did her practice page, the girl like pumped out the answers. She has not been able to do that before now.
Wow, I am so happy. Yeah, I remember that aha moment. I think Mia was about her same age when, when she wanted to do when she wanted to make the switch over to teaching textbooks. Maybe she was a little older, maybe 9 or 10.
Yeah.
About 9. And we love teaching textbooks. I love it. She loves it. However, whenever she hits a roadblock, now that she's learning about fractions and, you know, the whole greatest common factor and reducing and stuff like that.
All the fun stuff.
Yeah, all the fun stuff. I just take a break. I take one concept, and then on my own, I'll write problems for her on the paper, and let her get used to practicing. And then when she's confident enough, then I'm like, okay, go back to the lesson and finish it. But when I made changes this year that I told her, because midway through, I decided to chug a lot of the curriculum that we were using. And although I'm still using some new things now, which I've mentioned in my channel before, I just want to be a little bit more heavy based on values, beliefs, you know, because I'm planning to, you know, put her in a dual enrollment program. And we can't shelter our kids forever, but we can prepare them. We can prepare them to make smart choices.
Exactly.
We hope they do.
Yes, exactly. We can hope that they do.
Yeah. So she's like, don't change anything. You better leave my math. You can change whatever you want. You better leave my math alone.
Leave my math alone. Well, and I was seeing a difference because when every school day becomes tiers, then that's not fun. And when she's saying, I don't like school, I don't want her to not like to learn. And that's a problem for me. Like, I want her to love to learn. I want her to, you know, want to learn. And I'm starting to see a shift again in the different things that we are doing in our homeschool. So, you know, I'll ask her, what does she want to do first? And she never has said math before, and she'll say math to me now. So that's really cool. Usually it's grammar or it's something like that, because she loves like that kind of thing. She loves to learn those kinds of things, but she's saying math now.
Yeah, Mia, ever since we made the change, she starts with math first, because she's like, I'd rather just get it out of the way now. That's her.
So she has a different reason for wanting to do math first.
She's like, let me do this now, and that's it. But the good thing that I love about teaching textbooks is that she works at her own pace. So that's basically the only subject that she kind of works very independent. So they'd say, because sometimes we have a very late start in homeschooling, especially now that I have to work remotely. And so we'll wake up, I'll tell her, have your breakfast, and I tell her, please do some math. So by the time that we sit down to begin our homeschooling day, she's like, all right, I did 2 lessons and a half. So she doesn't only stop at 1 lesson, she'll keep going.
That is so good. Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. And if she gets stuck, then she knows, and she's like, I had to stop here because I need your help. Even though that teaching textbooks has an instructional video or a voice that helps break it down. She still needs like my help to go back and go over things with her, and so that's the way we do math now, and she doesn't want to change, so I listen to her.
And like you said, if it's not broke, don't fix it.
Don't fix it.
That's right. She's doing good.
That's it. And so yeah,
I'm excited too. I'm just excited to see, and so I can't wait to see all of your changes too. So if you have,
well, I started already. English is another language arts. I always refer to it as English.
Yeah,
but,
so
we're
old. No, I'm old. I won't call you old. I'm old.
Listen, I embrace it. I just love Rod and Staff. I already shared that.
And I looked at them in depth, and but
I love them. But there's still other things, like that's not just the only thing that I'm going to use, but it's the primary one, like the concepts and how they do it. I just love it because they have an old school feel to it, and I feel like the old school way of learning is so much better than this new way that they have.
Yes, like the McGuffey readers, like we love them for her read alouds. She reads the McGuffey readers to me, and I like the approach, and I feel like her reading has jumped tremendously since we've been using them, and she's just reading out of them. I mean, we're not doing the lessons, she's just reading.
Yeah, that works. And so this homeschooling year is going to be very interesting. I'm also going to be doing a breakdown of the old schoolhouse. Remember you told me about that subscription, and even though I knew of the old schoolhouse because I was a part of the homeschool review crew, but I never signed up with their whole curriculum. So they cover all subjects. So to be honest with you, I don't really have to buy anything if I don't want to.
That's awesome.
Everything is there.
So that was the other beautiful part. Like the things that I ended up choosing ended up having a much better price tag too. And that wasn't even a planned thing. That was just that's a God thing. Seriously. And they are price driven. So I mean, there's some pluses all the way around. So
and also thank God this year I really didn't have to buy any curriculum because again, because I was part of the homeschool review crew, I was able to get a lot of material for free in exchange for my review or my honest opinion. So I basically didn't buy anything. The only expense is that $12 a month subscription that I have with
which is so reasonable. That is so
amazing. It is amazing because it has everything in there. It has everything in there. Because even teaching textbooks, I was able to get for free as well last year and this year. So we're going to see how it goes so far with the homeschooling curriculum.
I mean, we may go back to teaching textbooks at some point, but for right now, I just feel like she's not ready. It's not. Not yet.
And that's what I'm going to do. I mean, and for other homeschoolers out there, I would just say be careful before jumping on any bandwagon when it comes to any type of curriculum. Especially if you're a YouTuber or a social media influencer, because there are so many people out there pushing the product either because again they got it or they were sponsored or whatever the case is. So you always have to make sure the source that you're getting the information from, and most of all, you have to make sure that it's really going to be compatible with your child.
Exactly, that's exactly it. And it says a lot when your child becomes excited, like they're seeing something different and they like the approach. That's huge. Like if you see a spark that had left your child, you're doing the right thing.
Yeah, and be knowledgeable that a lot of these publishers or creators of these curricula, they do offer a sample. They do offer you a demo for you to use as with your kids to make sure if that's what you want, because some of these, like you touched on something, some of these products are expensive.
Very expensive. And some of the ones that I have been using were kind of pricey, and they were really working. Like, I'm not going to say anything bad against any of them because I think that they were wonderful curriculum. They just weren't fitting us anymore. Like it just wasn't working anymore.
You outgrew it. And for us, it's a little easier because we only have the one that we homeschool. Like I homeschool Mia, you homeschool Hopi. But other families have multiple kids and and different grade levels. So it can be pricey. So do your research and your homework. right?
Yeah, and I love the curriculum that you can teach multiple levels to at the same time, especially when it comes to history and to science and health and, those kinds of things. Absolutely. If you can find a curriculum that you can include your kindergartner and your 12th grader even, I mean, history is history. It's not going to change just because of the age of your child.
No, that's the history that I shared. It's like that. It's multiple grades, and that's what I love about it. And I had a science curriculum that does the same as well. I'm just not into science. I just really can't stand it.
You're so funny.
I really can't. But yeah, it is what it is. So thank you so much for tuning in. Make sure to give
if you have stuck around all this time listening to us, we are grateful.
I know. I don't know if I'm going to break it up into 2 or not, so you may see the same intro and outro. But if not, then I'll just leave it. Who cares?
Okay. Who cares?
This is what we do. This is what we do. We love you guys so much.
Yes.
Make sure to pay attention on our Facebook page and Instagram. Follow us there. We're going to start making a little bit more appearances on those platforms as well. Give us a big thumbs up, subscribe, and comment.
Subscribe. Share us.
Yes. Share us. I love you, my friend.
I love you too.
I'll talk to you soon.
All right.
Bye.
Bye-bye.